Welcome back to the Shatterproof Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Scott Reib. Today we have a marketing powerhouse with us, Rob Ratliff. Rob has over 20 years of experience in marketing and sales, helping businesses grow through strategic digital marketing, SEO, and social media strategies. He's also a published author. He'll tell us all about his book, Driven, and I can't wait for you to dive into this with us. Rob, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Scott. Appreciate it.
So, Rob, you and I met speaking for Daniel Gomez down in San Antonio. We've been together a couple times, and I've really enjoyed the time we spent together. And so I'm happy to bring you to the Shatterproof audience. Kind of fill in some gaps. Tell us kind of who you are and what you do.
So my name is Rob Ratliff. I am a speaker, coach, entrepreneur, marketer, business owner, author, as you mentioned. And I have worked in basically marketing and sales my whole career. I started my own sporting goods store back when I was 24, 25 years old. Ran that for a while. In fact, I think my very first business was, oh man, this is going to date me, Scott. But it was back in the day when cell phones were like $600 to own or to have, because you had to buy the cell phone, you had to pay by the minute. So I actually bought a cell phone and I rented it out back when other people couldn't afford to have their own cell phone. That was back in 95, 95-ish, something like that. Maybe 93, 92, 93. That's how long ago that was. Yeah. So yes, I was old enough to have a business back in 93. That's, like I say, but I just found this love for finding ways to make money other than just the job, working hours and making money for someone else. So.
So you went from the cell phone, fractional cell phone owner to a sporting goods store.
Ran that.
What was next after that?
So next I went to a little company called America Online, which again dates me back, to the 90s. And America Online was just the way to connect to the internet back in the 90s. And it was, it turned into a, multi-million, billion, I think it was $1 billion plus business. Yeah. I was a coach there, and I worked with a team of call center employees, about 20 to 30 employees. I started just working with my team and developing them to get higher sales, better customer support, lower call times, and all those kinds of things. And I developed a system where I could work with these kids to teach them how to get more sales in less time and really get to know the customer, just all those things. It was towards the end of my career there, I was one of the guys that they would basically take to the lower performing teams in the company, and I would train them, try to get them back up to, meeting all the expectations. I would train them. I would train their team leader or their support, their coach. And once that team was up to, I'd go to the next team, and I just kind of was known as the guy that would just fix broken teams that, either couldn't sell or didn't have good customer support numbers or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
The reason I left that was I got a call from a guy that used to work with me there, who was then working for a company called MIT Financial, and it had another name, but what this was a seminar company. They went all over the country, and they talked about things in your field: asset protection, how to save money in taxes, why a business is so important to have for tax savings and protection, and all those kinds of things. And I was working with the company. This man, Jay Minton, was known as like the father of asset protection. And he protected a farmer back in like the 70s, 80s or something from losing his farm, and then just became the guy that he had celebrities working with him, or were clients of his. Yeah. And so we would put on these seminars, and then they started teaching, well, here's how you protect your money. How do you make money? So then they started putting on real estate seminars. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is where I got the inspiration to write my first book called Driven to Succeed, because I just was working with all of these millionaire entrepreneurs, tax specialists, lawyers, attorneys. I mean, they did all kinds of things. And I thought, what is it that just drives these people and makes them so successful? And that's when I came up with the driven formula and started researching some of those things. And the first thing that came to mind was just determination. And so I thought, well, that could be part of that formula. So that's kind of how that book came
Yeah.
about. And I did that for a number of years. And we can go back, talk more
Hmm.
about the book if you like. But
Yeah.
I did that for a number of years. And then after that, went to a company. Well, at that point, started working on my own agency doing marketing and just had my own marketing agency. Went back to school, got a degree in graphics and web development, started working with websites. And at that point, I was having clients that were hiring me to build websites. And then they would say, okay, site looks awesome. Now what do I do with it? So that's when I used some of my marketing knowledge from university classes and things that I'd taken in marketing and started the marketing AI concept. Of course, back then I think it was just R&L marketing solutions or something like that, but I've since changed it to marketing AI. And that's kind of catches you up to about where we are now. And I've had that business for about the last 12 to 14 years.
Okay. That's a long time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned America Online. And so, yeah, so if you're younger, then you have no idea what that is, but we all used to have AOL.com email addresses or Hotmail. Those were kind of the two back in the
Yep.
day. And you would use dial-up internet. So it would make weird noises as you connected and the speeds were really slow. But that's how
Mm-hmm.
you got on this internet superhighway, was generally through AOL.
Right.
Back in
Yeah.
that time, a little around that time period while you were selling internet stuff, I was selling long distance with a company
Okay.
called Long Distance Savers. And we were going into companies and showing them how they could save money on long distance phone calls, which no longer exist.
Right.
It's,
Oh, I remember those
we,
days too.
we've
Wow.
seen,
Taking me back.
yeah, yeah, we're kind of at a point where we're old enough to have seen so much change in the business
Mm-hmm.
landscape and in the way technology works, and fortunately, we're still young enough to be able to utilize this new stuff with that experience and history that we have to create even more and better things to help people. And
Right.
so, like you have your new book, Driven for Success. Um, what then and then you are also on the speaking circuit. Who does marketing AI work with?
So we work with mostly local service providers because we specialize in working with people who deal with the public in kind of their areas. We try to steer away from national types of, the big dogs like Nike and stuff like that. We're really here to service the plumbers, the electricians, pest control companies, dentists, attorneys, and those are the clients that we have right now. But it really just comes down to if you are a company that gets to a point where you say, okay, I have a marketing budget now. I've grown this to this point, but I don't know what to do from here. I don't know how to scale. I don't know how to market and get more customers than I already have. And if I did, I wouldn't know how to handle them. And so that's where we can really come in and shine, because not only can we help them get customers, but we can also help them with their CRM, with automations, with talent acquisition, just all kinds of things.
So, what sort of CRM solutions are you seeing people use right now?
Well, I remember Salesforce back in the day was like a big,
Yeah.
big CRM. A lot of
Hmm.
people were doing that, and they just charge so much money.
Hmm.
And then we got into there was some service like software providers. You could just get free ones that you would just download the
Yep.
software and you'd get your own database and use that. Then ClickFunnels came along and they developed, a great way to make little websites. But then
Hmm.
ClickFunnels 2.0 came on and they started adding the CRM aspect where you have all your contacts and all those. And then they started competing. Then there's a company called Go High Level that jumped up that started competing with.
Yeah.
So right now, kind of the two premier that I've seen are either High Level, which was Go High Level,
Hmm.
or ClickFunnels 2.0, which also has the CRM, the website, product integration. I mean, they're both really, really good platforms. both of those.
Yeah, and I was on ClickFunnels, and we've now switched everything to Go High Level, so I'm tracking with you. I also hear a lot of people still talking about HubSpot. I think is kind of maybe a third. I used to be with Keep, which was Infusionsoft, or what I called Confusionsoft. It was very difficult, but yeah. So you're able to take people on the marketing journey, bring in new customers, teach them how to bring them in through Go High Level or ClickFunnels 2.0, and then turn them into customers.
Right. So we will take them from, essentially from I have a business, I have some clients, but I need to grow. We will target those customers using what I call the GROW framework, and that's that's talked about in my other book, Critical Point Marketing. But we have this, what we call a GROW framework, and the G stands for gain visibility. So the first thing is just get the name out there. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if applicable. We've got to get you on like Google search ads, Google guarantee if you can, like if you're a plumber, those kind of service industries.
Yeah.
All of those things. The R then is to re-engage with the audience that you already have. A lot of these folks are not reaching out to past clients regularly enough to keep them coming back for more services. So that's the R. O, we work on optimizing their websites, their emails, their newsletters, their ads for better conversion. So we have to look at, are they getting clicks on their ads? Yes. Okay, great. High click-through rate. The ad is gaining attention. They come to the website. Do they call you? No. Okay, well, let's look at why that's not happening. So we'll look at what are the calls to action? What are the colors? Is it hard to find the contact information? And then we use things like call tracking numbers to track which ads are generating the most calls. And so there's, science behind that. And then the W in GROW finally is win more customers or win more clients, which is all about the sales aspect of it. So we'll look at what is their sales process? Are they answering the phone enough? Because frankly, I've had clients who just get, you call them and you get a busy signal or no answer. And if you're something like an attorney, they'll probably call you back. But if you're a carpet cleaner and there's a dime a dozen and you don't answer the phone, you're just going to go next, right? So we look at that. Are you answering the phones? How are those calls going? One of my clients, I'm not going to mention who, obviously, but I heard the person answer the phone. They wanted a new water heater installed. And by the time the phone call was over, I think the representative, just listening to this call, essentially talked the customer out of it. And it was just, I was like, "What?
You don't need hot water."
So we have to work on some of those things too. So that's what we do, is take this full approach of how do we get you seen so you attract the clients, to how do you win the client and get the sale, close them.
Hey there, it's Scott Reib, cutting in for a quick moment. If you're enjoying the podcast and finding value in our discussions, you're going to love the Access Plan. It's designed for entrepreneurs like you, offering unlimited legal advice without the worry of high hourly fees. With the Access Plan, you can get the legal support you need at a flat monthly rate so you can focus on growing your business with confidence. Head over to reiblaw.com/access to learn more and join Access now and get busy shatterproofing your business. Now let's get back to our amazing guest.
It's a great process. And so you're working with local heroes, people that have probably a brick and mortar and that are trying to dominate that a particular geographic area.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
As opposed to someone that's trying to create national campaigns. It's that local business owner, which is great.
And to be honest, we would love to work with a national. I mean, if somebody came in and said, "Hey, I want to spread the word nationally," okay, great. Do you have a multi-million-dollar budget? Because, I mean, if I'm a roofer in a local service area, then $3,000 or $4,000 will take you a long way. I mean, you can do a lot with that kind of money. But if you're trying to go national and you don't have a good bankroll and you're trying to go national with a brand for $2,000 or $3,000 a month, there's not much I'm going to be able to do. You've got to pay to play, especially in that kind of arena.
Yeah.
But hey, if you have someone listening, you got millions, we will help you out. We've got the system.
So the system will work on a national basis. It's just most people don't want to pay it to do it.
Right. Or have the money to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned budgeting. So how should small business owners be considering marketing as a part of their budget?
So the going rate, if you were to say, what should I spend on marketing, is 20% of your revenue if you're really trying to grow quickly and put a lot of energy into it. So this might be for someone who has saved up some good bank account. They're ready to start investing in marketing, and we're going to say, well, what do you? So more like, look about what do you want to make? Well, I want to start making 40,000 a month. Okay, well then we probably want to, you're probably want to spend 8,000 a month to drive another 40,000 and another 40,000, another 40,000, because we're looking at somewhere between a 4-to-1 ROI on the minimum. But we were working with, and now I'm going to have to eat my words a little bit, but we were working with a client who sold parts online and for car parts, and they were getting about a 14-to-1 ROI with some particular ads we were running on, like the Google shopping ads. So you just kind of have to look at what is it that you want to make, and then let's take 20% on the high side to be really aggressive, to maybe 10% on the low side just to kind of maintain that. So if you want $40,000 a month coming in, consistently, you probably want to be spending about $4,000 a month, and that's just to maintain that. But if you want to grow, you have to put more into it.
Keep adding percentage. So does that include paying a marketing agency, or is that just the ad spend?
That would include paying the market. Well, for us, that would include paying the marketing agency as well.
So that's part of the marketing budget.
Right. But if you have a little bit more to spend, that always helps.
Okay. I think that's helpful.
Yep.
I think people don't really know how that works, how to budget for it. I liked how you said put some money aside to get ready for it, and that you're spending what you're looking at. Really, it's not the 20% of your current revenue; it's the 20% of what you want of the new revenue that you're trying to drive with the marketing.
Right. And then, of course, it depends on what business you have. Some businesses are going to rely more on social media type of ads than other businesses are going to be wanting to put more of their money into Google search ads. For example, if you're a restaurant owner, you'll put a little bit into Google ads. So when people search for restaurants, like in Logan, Utah, you pop up and click it, they can, book. But social media is really phenomenal for restaurants because you get to put up pictures of the food, talk about specials, and for very little money, you can boost those posts out. And here's something else that's not really commonly known, but a lot of people will use Facebook and they'll just post on their page over and over and over again. But the way the Facebook algorithm works is, first of all, you have to be following that person's page to even be eligible to see it. Second of all, it has to be interesting enough, or Facebook isn't really going to show your content to that person if someone else has content that is getting more comments, more shares, more likes. So you kind of gate it that way too. So if you boost the post, which you can do for as little as $3 or $4 a day, that gets you off of the page and forces that ad into other customers' feeds, and now or potential customers' feeds, and now they can see your ad come up. And just as an example, we have a restaurant that I'm working with right now, and we're seeing increases in their week over week, just running social media ads with a little bit of boosting. They're anywhere up from 4% on the low side to, I've seen, they had one day last week, they were up 300% over the week before, just by putting really neat pictures, appetizing looking food, and then offering some specials and things like that. Now, if I put $4 or $5 a day into search engine ads for that restaurant, that same money, it's not going to be as effective. So depending on what your company is and what it does is going to change the way that we market. So we'd have to talk and say, what is your company? Who is your customer? Where do they live? How do we get in front of them? And then use the budget to figure out the best way to get in front of that customer and have that customer feel like I really need this company over these other companies.
Yeah, that's great. Well, if someone wanted to work with you, how would they reach out?
So the best way is just go to marketingai.com.
Okay.
I bought that domain back about 2010, so about 14 years ago now. And when I bought it, it stood for all inclusive, meaning we do everything from website design to radio scripting ads to Google, Facebook, and all those things. Of course, now marketing AI is a completely different realm, which we have really learned to leverage AI to deliver more content more frequently on the lower budgets. So that's why that's important. But yeah, marketingai.com, I own that domain, and it's been pretty amazing to have that.
And if someone wanted to get the book, where would they go get Driven to Succeed for Success?
So it's on Amazon. It's called Driven to Succeed. I can send you a link. The link that I will send you to put on there is for an older version with a different cover. I've rebranded the cover and gone in and revised some of the content inside as well. And that will be available on Amazon coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
Great.
And then I can send a new link. But yeah, just go to Amazon.com, awesome. Driven to Succeed by Rob Ratliff.
Awesome. We'll definitely put that in the show notes. What's next for you, Rob? What's coming up next?
So the next venture for me is really getting more into the speaking, getting on stages, talking to businesses more than one at a time or just through social media. I really love the idea of getting in front of business owners, either to talk about the marketing side and just kind of help them do better there, or maybe more of the mindset side, which was kind of the Driven to Succeed that you saw me present at that sticker shock. So that could be more mindset and how do you get over yourself to, if you're not growing, is it you that's stopping it, or is it a scaling problem? Is it a people problem? So anything from that to how do we get your marketing and sales up? I would love to talk to audiences about how to fix those problems, identify areas of improvement, and just believe in yourself and grow your business.
Yeah, that's great. And like I said, I've seen you on stage and you can really deliver. You've done a great job today for us. And I think you've given the audience some things to think about on their marketing and how they could do it differently, how they need to be looking at the budget side of marketing, and then some strategies like specifically on social media that they could implement even on their own. So I really appreciate that. Before we go away, I just want to thank you for being my friend and coming on the show, and just pray that you would be blessed in everything that you do, that God would give you favor as you go forward onto the stages, and that everything that you put your hand to would be blessed. And I thank you for coming on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've found the value that I have in this conversation, then please like and subscribe it. And until next time, stay Shatterproof.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you. It was an honor being here.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. While I'm your host, Scott Reib, and a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer, and this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship. The views expressed by my guests are their own and not mine, and they may not even reflect the opinion of the Shatterproof Entrepreneur podcast. So we strive to provide valuable and accurate content, but we make no representations as to the accuracy, completeness, or suitability of any information to your particular situation, and won't be liable for any errors or omissions for the application of them. Always consult a professional or in the respective area that we've discussed before making any personal or business decisions.